you're thinking about leaving the US in 2026, there's a few boring, unsexy things that will absolutely make or break your transition. Most people don't find out until it's too late. Finding yourself watching videos about leaving the US? Are you the kind of person that tends to fixate and ruminate on big decisions and you try and make sure to cross every T and dot every I? Well, it's no wonder you ended up here, because I can relate. I'm no sage, but my wife and I quit our jobs, sold our stuff, and moved to Albania about 8 months ago, and we made a lot of mistakes along the way. But we learned some stuff too. There are so many things that go into a decision like this, from considering your mail to your footwear to what documents you might need. Things are gonna come up and plans are gonna change, but hopefully if you consider these 5 things, it'll put you on track for a smooth transition. So have you thought about what you're gonna do about your mail?
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Someone needs to send you mail, but you're about to leave the US and you don't have a permanent address anymore.
What do you do? What do you do?
This isn't hypothetical. You ever heard that expression, the only certainties in life are death and taxes? Well, how are you supposed to get your tax bill if they can't mail it to you? Why do you have that crazy look in your eye? That's not a suggestion to abandon your mailing address. Despite how enticing it might be to forget about mail, there are some unavoidable things that will require an address. I can tell you from personal experience, there's going to be financial reasons, everything from taxes to banking. There are generally 2 ways that expats and nomads deal with this. The easiest way would be to have a friend or a family member let you use their address. Most of the expats that I encounter are doing this to one extent or another, but it's a pretty big ask to have someone handle all your mail in the US. The other way people tend to deal with it is a digital mailbox. This is a service that's very easy to use, it's helpful, and it's inexpensive. It costs about $180 a year, totally worth it. And like a bad dad joke, I'm gonna walk right into shoes. Polls and surveys frequently confirm that a big regret later in life for adults is not taking better care of their teeth and their feet. I can tell you from firsthand experience, once you start paying some dental bills in the US, you start thinking more about prevention. Now everybody knows that they need to brush and floss every day, but most people don't really consider the impact that their footwear is having on their bodies. It can really impact your day if your shoes are falling apart or your feet won't let you walk. I've had multiple conversations with other nomads and expats about how important their footwear is to them and how much they prioritize taking care of their feet, especially if you're living without a car. I was introduced to barefoot shoes about 10 years ago when I started suffering from plantar fasciitis. After a lot of reading and a lot of YouTube videos, I found barefoot shoes, and specifically Zero shoes, and they literally changed my life. I started wearing them, and within 6 months, my plantar fasciitis greatly improved. I've been wearing these shoes now for a decade, and I don't have any symptoms of it anymore. It doesn't bother me at all. This definitely isn't health advice. This is just my personal experience, but these shoes changed my life, and literally every pair of shoes that I own now is from this manufacturer. I gotta take them off. I must have bought 8 pair of this sneakers specifically over the years. I brought a pair of these sandals, which I really love. I wore these all summer long, and these really feel like being barefoot. They're super pliable. And then I brought these waterproof boots that I'm really glad that I have when it's raining, because the last thing that you want are soaked feet when you're gonna be walking all day. This is by no means an ad. I'm just literally that enthusiastic about them. I've been using them for that long, and I believe in them that much. So if you're interested in checking them out for yourself, I got some affiliate links down below. Any of those purchases help support the channel. I really appreciate you taking a look. Even if you hate barefoot shoes, the point is this: don't assume that things that you depend on are gonna be easy to get when you leave. Now this one's a much bigger priority than people realize. That's your practice pack. Are you moving or are you traveling? Is this a journey or are you trying to get to a new destination? The way you frame this is going to have a big impact on how you prioritize and what you think that you need to bring with you. Something I've heard repeated so many times from nomads especially is the more that they travel, the lighter that their packs get. When my wife and I decided that we were going to leave the US, we considered living nomadically. We each got online and ordered a nice sturdy carry-on and a new backpack, and we were really excited to see what we might be able to pack and carry with us. Well, after the suitcases arrived, our excitement quickly faded. I could barely fit a single pair of my size 15 shoe in one of those suitcases. Even after ordering compression cubes, there was not going to be any possibility I was going to be able to fit everything I needed to live in a suitcase that small without making some compromises I was not prepared to make yet. After that, we decided pretty quickly we weren't going to be nomads. So knowing that, we shifted gears into buying some more luggage in order to transition into moving instead of just living nomadically. One of the best pieces of advice that I heard early on, though, was to pack about a month before you want to leave, and that way you have an opportunity to see the things that you actually are using every day and the things that you think you might need but you never touch, and then you can really go over your pack and reassess what you think you need to bring and what you need to leave behind. Practicing your pack and learning to prioritize your possessions is one of those things that doesn't really get talked about that much, but it's really, really important to learn how to do this. I was just talking to to another expat recently that was telling me how pressured that they felt when they were packing to leave because they felt like they did it too late. It's not a fun position to be in. You will not regret taking a little time to practice your pack if you can. Packing cubes can help a lot with organization. There's very mixed feelings about them in the nomad community. They definitely will compress your clothes and they can make it a little easier to stay organized, but they'll also give you some gnarly wrinkles, so just keep that in mind. By the way, if you find this useful, please like and subscribe to the channel. This is the kind of stuff I like to cover here. It lets me know I'm making stuff you want to see, which leads me to taking a test trip. Before leaving the US, my wife and I talked about how this is going to be the hardest thing that we've ever done. I think it has been, but it's been really rewarding. The juice is worth the squeeze, as they say. I was telling this to another expat friend recently, and he didn't really feel the same way. For him, he didn't feel like it was that hard, and that's awesome. Some people take to traveling like a duck to water, and I have so much admiration for those people, but I am not one of them. I'm learning, and I'm getting a lot better, but I really need to take a lot of time to feel things out and get comfortable when I'm moving around. My wife and I stayed in 8 Airbnbs over the last year. We saw a lot of pictures, and let me assure you, every ad looked great. But we had all kinds of problems, from mold to the toilet splashing on the floor when you flushed it. We had a place one time where they didn't give us enough blankets. It was freezing. One time we had the power stay out for an entire night. The bottom line is you just can't know what a place is going to be like until you see it for yourself. That's just the reality of traveling, and countries are just the same. You're likely to see content creators making content that show you these picturesque views that looks like a postcard. And you get here, you step off the plane, and you just feel like you can't handle the smell of cigarettes, or you feel like there's too much trash, or the healthcare doesn't meet your needs adequately, and all of a sudden what was a dream just turns into a nightmare. Not everyone needs a test trip, but I really caution people to come and see it for yourself before you make any big decisions. At the very least, getting eyes on the ground is going to help you prepare better for the transition. You can get an idea of how the commerce works, where to access an ATM, maybe a little bit of an idea of what the culture is like. We even came during the winter to make a point of seeing a less appealing season. And we can't forget everyone's favorite Kafkaesque part of this whole adventure, the paperwork. This is the one my wife and I screwed up the worst. If you're going to be a nomad, it probably doesn't matter quite as much, but if you're thinking about residency, it's really a good idea to look into what you're going to need and get all your documents in order before you come. First and foremost, you need a valid passport, and most countries won't let you in unless you have at least 6 months before it expires. But there are several other documents that I see coming up all the time. Birth certificates and marriage certificates, and getting your documents apostilled. That's basically an extra step that you have to take to demonstrate the document's legitimacy. It takes a little longer, it requires you to mail it off again once you get it. Many countries require that you start the residency process before you even enter, but here in Albania you can actually do it after you arrive. But if you don't have the correct documents, you're just going to be waiting around until they get here before you can start the process. Look into the visa process and make sure you have all the documents that you need ready to go before you apply. Here's a little bonus tip along the same lines. Check your debit and credit cards and see if they're expiring soon. And if they are, see if you can get a new copy sent with an expiration date further in the future. Getting a card sent to you overseas can be a little tricky, so if you can get ahead of this and give yourself some more time to have to deal with it, it's a huge relief. Also, make sure your card works internationally. Our Discover card didn't, and I didn't discover that until we got here. Moving abroad has a lot of challenges, but with the right plan and the right attitude, it can be one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do, even if it is one of the hardest. There's no such thing as a perfect plan, but putting some real thought and consideration into the logistical side of traveling is some time that you're not going to regret. It may even be the thing that makes or breaks your journey. If you made the move yourself, tell me some things that you wish you'd have done before you left. I love hearing people's stories. If you consider yourself a planner, a realist, or a person that doesn't romanticize uprooting their lives, make yourself comfortable and check out some of these other videos. I think they might be just what you're looking for.